When you started at Capella University, you joined a company that had been working with an agency for 7 years.
Right.
What did you do specifically for the knowledge transfer when you started?
Well, we do weekly phone calls with them. So it was basically like from the first day, did the introductions. And then sometimes it was weird because I was the new kid. Because literally they had those relationships with people over 7 years where we'd have the call, then they talk about their kids, and they talk about, oh, did you get the new Apple TV? That's great. So it was kind of like strange for me going into the situation just thinking, wow, I am really new. There's these people who are working so close together. What if I don't like this agency? What if I can't work with them? It was kind of a strange situation. But they were great. Onboarding was, hey, can I get these ranking reports that you guys have done for 7 years, and can you explain the way you do your weekly reporting? And it was kind of getting up to speed what they were doing for us, and then it was me getting them up to speed what I would expect out of an agency from the other agency relationships I've had in the past and the ones I've worked with. So it was a little rough at first because what they would deliver previously to people was completely different than what an SEO would expect in return. So, those first little bumps, now the relationship's going great.
Okay. So it's really about not being shy about creating some change, right?
Right.
So you came in and you had your own philosophy on here's what I need to look at, and so you kind of got a debrief from them on everything, and then said, okay, here's what we need to go to the next level now, moving forward.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it was. It was like, you guys need to bring your A game, because in the past, they would say something and people would just kind of nod their heads because they've heard the term, but they didn't really know, the SEO theories behind it or the tactics. And, I come in and hey, I could look at this. I don't need you to do some of these stuff that you did in the past. I need to do, a little bit deeper, a little bit, I need support as opposed to you guys doing all the work. And, if they did all the work and I just sat there, then I wouldn't have a job.
So probably you made a little bit of adjustment in what they were actually doing for you. Right. So some of the responsibilities you took on, along with your job, is to navigate the organization, right?
Right.
And then you maybe gave them new responsibilities.
Exactly.
And so what was the experience about, you kind of knew what you needed to do, you moved forward on that, and you moved the road, you kind of moved the mountains. What kind of impact did that make?
It made a huge impact. I think, they've had barriers from the work that they've been trying to do for the last 7 years. They had great, let's do this, let's implement that. And they would always get a roadblock on our side because they didn't have those relationships within the company to make them happen. So one thing I've done, I've literally just kind of opened up the doors where they're we've been trying to talk about this for, the last 5 years and never got through. And all of a sudden, it's like the golden ticket. So they're ecstatic because, they have a vested relationship with us. They've been with us for a while. And the fact that they actually can do what they've wanted to do and, it's what I want them to do. It's just great, great, we'll have a great ROI on what they're going to do.
So for those of you who kind of listen to this, how this might apply to you is if you have SEO that you're currently outsourcing and you don't have somebody in-house, this was what can happen when you bring someone in, right? So if you had all these roadmaps sitting on the desk not being used, dust them off, figure out what made sense still, what doesn't make sense, and you were able to charge ahead, open the doors, and actually get momentum that wasn't happening until they had someone in-house. So if you're kind of on the fence about that, this is a prime example of why you might want to bring things in-house.
Yeah, exactly. The barrier, I was able to remove the internal barriers, and that just opened up the door for us to do so much more.